All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here this afternoon. First, I want to congratulate everybody in the audience as you approach graduation in the next couple weeks. It's such an exciting, but can be a very nerve-wracking time, knowing that your time at Penn State is coming to a close. So we're continuing our senior week career programming today with Still Searching Strategies to Land Your First Full-Time Job. And today we have Holly Stoltzfus from the Alumni Career Services Center. So this is a service that I know Holly is going to go over today as well, but it's something that is going to be available to you all after you graduate. So she has a bunch of tips as well as resources. Just to let everybody know, this presentation will be recorded and available on our YouTube channel after its completion. I will be monitoring the chat during Holly's conversation. So if you have any questions, please feel free to put it in the chat and I can help monitor that. But otherwise, I'm going to hand it over to Holly to help us get started. Thanks, Holly.
Sure. Thank you, Lauren. So hello, everyone, and congratulations. You're almost there. It's a very, very exciting time. And it comes with, I know, a lot of excitement as well as a little apprehension and all different kinds of feelings. So just what I'll do today is walk you through some information about this Alumni Career Services and what we have to offer. I'll also talk about networking, talk about, identifying your goals, all kinds of things. And at the end, we'll definitely have some time for Q&A. All right. And forgive me, my cat in the background is trying to get inside and hear her meowing. So if you hear of anything, that is her. So I'm actually going to turn off my camera and get started. All right. So I want to begin by giving you an overview of our services. We'll talk about how to identify your goals, how to demonstrate your value to an employer, explain how employers fill job vacancies, which is super important to understand, and then tips on networking. And then I'll do some demo on Lionlink, which some of you may be familiar with. That is Penn State's networking platform. And I also want to show you a really unique tool on LinkedIn. We refer to it as the Alumni Tool. So from the day you graduate until you're ready to retire, you have access to Penn State Alumni Career Services. Our office is located in the Career Services building next to Eisenhower parking deck and the University Health Services building. If any of you have been in there to Career Services, I always say you walk in the building, Career Services is on your left, and we are on your right. Currently, we are working remotely. And all of our services are virtual. And we're hoping to be back in the office this fall. But like I said, we can work with you from the day after graduation. And whenever you're ready, we are always going to be available. Our email address, and I'll see if Lauren can add that to the chat. It's alumnicareer@psu.edu. And you can email us anytime, and we will be able to help you. So when you graduate, you're going to be receiving a free membership to the Penn State Alumni Association for a year. This entitles you to all the services provided by our office, and there are many other benefits from the Alumni Association that you can check out on the Alumni Association's webpage. I'm going to focus on what is available to you in Alumni Career Services. So some of the things that services we provide include review of employment documents, such as any type of resume, CV, We review cover letters. If you'd like someone to take a look at your LinkedIn profile and give you some feedback, we do that as well. If any of you are interested in attending grad school, if you would like someone to take a look at your purpose statement, your application, we can do that for you as well. We also offer job search webinars every week. Right now we're offering them on Wednesdays at noon, and we cover topics such as writing a strong resume, network and relationship building, and how to use LinkedIn as a job seeker. And they're offered on a rotating basis. So you can go to our website and get registered for all those events. In addition to the job search webinars, we also host virtual regional networking events. When hopefully in the fall, we're going to have a little more flexibility that we're able to travel. And you'll find that there are chapters, Alumni Association chapters that you can get hooked up with all over the world. And in joining those, you can invite us to speak at some of your events when you belong with a chapter, or host some type of networking option or something. So lots of ways to continue to get involved there. Other things that you may want to take advantage of as a new grad, I would strongly encourage you to register for our Job Search Tune-Up program. Job Search Tune-Up is a program that provides access to curated and self-directed job search resources. The program is set up for those who prefer to work in a group, or if you prefer to work independently. For those who prefer to work in a group environment, it's facilitated by Lauren Wright in our office, where she has engaging live chats about different topics and holds different sessions on trends and all kinds of good stuff, anything related to your job search. And for those who prefer to work independently, all the materials are organized into modules that allows you to customize the experience depending upon whichever learning style you prefer. Another thing that we offer is one-on-one career coaching appointments and mock interviews. If this is something you think would be helpful, we can help you get that scheduled. We do not use Nittany Lion Careers to schedule that. We actually schedule through that email that I had mentioned earlier, and I believe that Lauren added that to the chat. Other things you can do as an alum, you will still have access to Nittany Lion Careers, Penn State's job board. You can, as an alum, you will be able to view all of the job opportunities that you would have as a student. Also, you're going to be able to access Lionlink, which I had mentioned. Lionlink is our networking platform, and I will demo that a little later in the presentation. And if you're interested in anything else we do, you can visit us, visit our website. And it's alumni.psu.edu/career. And that's on the bottom of each of the slides that I'm going to be going through. Most people think the first step in looking for a job is to create a resume. A resume is only one tool you're going to need for your job search. I would start with first identifying your career goal. It's really the foundation of building a strategic job search. You may have one or several goals in mind, and that's okay. You may not have a specific goal in mind, and that's okay too. It's just really helpful to get started having that foundation. So if you're unsure of what you'd like to be doing, there are a number of resources and tools to assist you. There are online self-assessments. Some of the ones that we use or recommend are the My Next Move and iSeek. You can also meet with your career counselor, an advisor, and instructor to have a discussion with them about career options and interests. You can schedule a career counseling appointment with anyone in career services through Nittany Lion Careers. And then after that, as I mentioned, you can meet up with our office in Alumni Career Services. Other things you can do is really, I would encourage you to talk with people that work in a job that you're interested in doing. They're going to actually be able to provide you with the best advice. They're going to be able to speak to what's happening in the industry right now. And they're also going to be able to tell you what a typical day looks like. Super helpful. The other thing you can do is do some research. Find out what someone in, a specific job you're interested in checking out. You can even do this by simply Googling what does an economist do? And it will provide you with all kinds of information. Or what does a psychologist do? It's amazing just typing in those few words, what kind of information you can get from there. So after you've done your research and you've identified your goals, you'll be able to clearly define them to a potential employer, which is going to be helpful. One thing you really want to be aware of, an employer doesn't know what a specific degree is going to be helpful for many times. So it's going to really be up to you to communicate what you can do to the employer. Another reason why identifying your goals is important, it helps you to figure out if there's anything you're missing, by simply thinking about, for example, if you want to, say you want to be a social worker, that's your career goal is to be a social worker. You're really going to need to find out if you have the level of education or credentials that meet the requirements of a job. If your goal is to be a social worker, you're going to have to look at what type of education is necessary for that particular goal. Perhaps you need to enroll in an MSW program. Other things you want to think about, what about experience? Do you have the required experience needed for someone that's a social worker? Do you need to find a related job or volunteer maybe to gain some experience to qualify for some positions? Because I know many times we come across job postings and there, it says, well, you need 1 or 2 years or 3 to 5 years. There's ways you can get that experience. You can, like I said, you can do some volunteer work. That counts as experience. You can do some part-time work. That will also help you gain some experience. What you want to do is what do you need to fill that gap in? Another thing that you may want to consider, maybe you need to brush up on some technical skills or some language skills. Those are some things that maybe that you could take a class or you could take some type of specialized training. LinkedIn Learning offers a ton of different opportunities to learn some new skills. So after you've determined what pieces of the puzzle that you're missing that's preventing you from achieving your career goal, and you fill in those, you can then fill in some of those gaps. And keep in mind, your ideal job may not be the first job out of college. It may be a stepping stone to reaching your goal. For example, say you do want to get your MSW, you want to be a social worker. But while you're working on that, you may need to work. So you can do one or the other part-time. And that's building those skills and getting that experience and getting the credential while you're moving on to achieving that career goal. So there may be some stepping stones, like I said, in between there. So here's the good news about having a liberal arts education. You have exactly what employers are looking for. So some of you may be familiar with NACE. NACE is the National Association for Colleges and Employers. They conducted a study and found that some of the top skills employers are seeking in candidates directly align with what is taught in a liberal arts college. Let's take a look. Employers are seeking candidates with with good communication skills. They're also looking at someone that has the ability to work in a team, strong interpersonal skills, problem-solving skills, analytical and quantitative skills, and they're looking for people to be flexible and adaptable. That is the basics of what a liberal arts education teaches you. So you have these skills. This is one way when you're applying for a job that you can speak to those skills on your resume, during an interview, because typically, sorry, I jumped ahead slides. These are often listed as soft skills, and soft skills are the personality traits and behaviors that are non-technical. And this is where you're really going to shine. These are the skills that you can help advertise what you have to offer and show your value to an employer. So let's start with communicating your skills and experience on your resume and interviewing. Remember, you all may remember show and tell in kindergarten or preschool. This is the grown-up version of show and tell. So on your resume, you're going to show them what you can do. I would encourage you to paint a picture for them to understand the depth of your experience and your skills. When you're looking at a job posting, take time to really understand what the job entails and what experience and skills the employer is seeking. This is going to help you tailor your resume by focusing on the skills and experience you have that match what the employer is looking for. Employers and recruiters spend an average of 6 to 7 seconds looking at your resume. They do that. They are skimming for words and phrases from the job posting. What you need to do is make sure that the keywords on the job posting are also on your resume, because that's exactly what they're looking for in those 6 to 7 seconds. And also keep in mind, the information in your resume doesn't just have to list the experience you have from a job or an internship. It can be skills learned from a volunteer or a leadership experience, or even a project that you worked on in class. You'll also want to weave those soft skills that we just talked about that employers are looking for. Put those in your resume, because the employers, that's what they've stated that they value. They're really important when in hiring a candidate. Another thing to think about when you're looking at that job posting, let's use for example, let's say an employer is looking for someone that's going to be looking for someone that's able to write grants for them. Think about what really goes into writing grants. Things like research, writing. You have to be organized and have good communication skills. These are really important for a grant writer. Put those skills on your resume. With your education, you have those skills. Make sure you're marketing well on your resume. As far as your interview, this is the tell part of our show and tell. It's important to, it's important to effectively communicate or tell the employer why you're a strong candidate for the position. To be successful during an interview, you must be prepared. Start by researching and learning all about the company or organization. Find out what their mission statement is. Understand what they do. Learn about what products they have. The more information you can gather in going into an interview, the more prepared and comfortable you're going to be. Also, think about those skills and experience that the company is looking for. Be able to talk about those. Give examples of going back to that grant writing example. Talk about all of the research skills you had that would be applied to that. Talk about, how organized you are. Those are good things to add and talk about on both your resume and during an interview. during an interview, you also want to practice those commonly asked questions like, tell me about yourself, or why are you interested in this position? You may want to participate in a mock interview. That's always helpful. The more practice you get, the more comfortable you're going to feel during that meeting. And always, always, always send a thank you note after you meet with someone. This is really all about communicating your skills and experience. It's so vital and vital in a job search. And that's why when I began, I said, start with your goal. Know what your goal is and be able to speak to it. The next thing I want to talk about is how employers fill a job vacancy. And this is really critical to understand. Give me a second here because I'm going to ask you all a question. Okay. So as a job seeker, it's important to understand how employers fill job vacancies. Employers fill job vacancies the same way you or I would look for someone to house sit, babysit, or pet sit. So let's say, and to explain this to you better, let's say you're going away for the weekend and you need someone to watch your pet. How are you going to find someone? So in the chat, I want you to tell me what you're going to do to find someone to pet sit. What's your approach? Ask a friend, ask a family member, ask for recommendations. Great. Ask friends in town, ask family. Post on social media. You're exactly right. You're absolutely exactly right. Here's the thing. Employers hire people they know and they trust. Just like you told me how you're going to find a pet sitter. You're going to ask friends. You're going to ask family members. You're going to, get recommendations from someone. That's the same way an employer fills an open position. So I'm going to walk you through this graphic right here. So to explain how this all works. When an employer has a job opening, they first consider anyone they have within the organization or company. They think, do I have this opening? Is there anyone that I know that already works here that can fill that position? They may come up with one or two candidates that would be a good fit for that position. Then if they really can't identify anyone in the company, then they say, hey, they start to talk to their colleagues or friends, or just start asking people that they know and that they trust, because that's how employers hire people. They hire people that maybe knows someone that knows someone and that can vouch for that person is going to be a trusted employee, just like you're trusting someone to watch your pet. And when you're doing that, then maybe the employer will find a few candidates that way. Great. If candidates aren't found that way, then they're going to go to LinkedIn and start checking out different profiles, using some keywords. And the people that are going to maybe pop up when they're using some keywords, they may know or they may not know, which starts to get a little bit risky because they're candidates they don't know. And from there, they may get several more people that might be a good fit for this position. Then if that doesn't work, they move on to a recruiter or an agency. And when they do this starts to, first of all, it's going to start costing them money because they need to pay a recruiter or some agency. And they're getting a bunch of unknown candidates, but they're getting quite a few people to apply for this position. Next, if there aren't strong candidates found, they post an ad on a job board. And this is where they've got hundreds of unknown candidates for this position. which if you think about how an employer hires someone, think about where you want to be as far as one of the candidates. Do you want to be competing with hundreds of candidates that you found on a job board, or is it going to be more practical and useful for you to know someone and be in that pool of a few candidates? Obviously, you want to be with a few candidates. So you really need to start talking with people and networking. And really, it's going to improve your chances of landing a job. And it's also going to give you a leg up because someone's going to be able to speak to your character, your skills, and your experience. Employers hire people they know and who they trust. And you remember that age-old saying, which you guys are not all that old, so you may not know this. It really is who you know. Networking is the #1 way to find job opportunities. You can expand your network by attending events like virtually, and hopefully sooner than later, there'll be some in-person events. You can also get involved in community and professional organizations or volunteer. Great ways to connect with people. You can reach out to friends, friends of friends, former supervisors, friends of your parents, parents of your friends, organizations you're involved with, virtually anyone you can use to network with. The best networking contacts are going to be people in an industry you're interested in. Absolutely true. But building that network and talking with people and knowing people is really going to improve your chances of finding that job. And I think when anyone mentions networking, people tend to panic, especially if I'm an introvert. If you're an introvert like me, if someone says networking and I'm like, oh, please don't make me do that. But I want you to think of networking as this. Networking is not asking someone for a job. I'm going to say that again. Networking is not asking someone for a job. Networking is growing and cultivating relationships where you can share interests, resources. It's a mutually beneficial interaction. People in your network can be the greatest advertisements about you. They may help you by letting you know of positions available, introducing you to other people, providing you with advice. Remember, it is a relationship and a relationship is reciprocal. It's important to offer whoever you're networking with your resources as well, your time and your talents. So, if you're meeting someone in a networking event or it's a family or friend, you know that they're looking for a job too. Hey, introduce them to other people. See what you can do for them. And while it's tempting to focus your job search on online job boards, this should not be your only strategy. And, I've just talked about why that's so important, because in this graphic, 85% of jobs are gotten through networking opportunities. So definitely make networking a big part of your job search. One technique used to expand your professional network is through informational interviewing. And some of you may be aware of what this is. I know some instructors have given you assignments to do an informational interview. And I'm glad they do that, because this is going to be helpful. For those of you who have never done an informational interview, informational interviews are designed to enable you, the person seeking information, to ask questions of someone who's currently or previously worked in a position, organization, or industry that's interested in. It doesn't mean that they have a job opening. It means that it's someone that you can get advice from and someone that can answer some questions for you and hopefully expand your network. The first step for an informational interview is to really identify people that you'd like to interview with. Maybe you already have some people in mind. And like I said, they can be anyone that we talked about, that could be friends, parents. Penn State has over 700,000 alumni. They're really good people to tap into. And we're going to show you how to tap into those folks a little bit later. Think about classmates, former internship supervisors, basically anyone you can think of, you can do an informational interview with. Second thing you want to do is you should ask them for an interview, an informational interview. And to do this, you want to prepare a concise, direct email with your ask. And I'm going to give you an example of one in the next slide. And then following, you're going to also then prepare questions and think about what you want to learn from the person and write them down. These questions can help draw upon, you can draw upon these questions to really get the conversation started. And when you're having these conversations, take some notes. So then you can always refer back to them when needed. And when you're talking with someone, always ask them, is there anyone else you'd recommend that I talk to? That's one of the best questions to ask, because you're asking them to kind of pass you on to someone else. And again, that's allowing you to expand that network and really cultivate those relationships. And just like a regular interview, you want to send them a personal thank you note and thank them for their time and their insight. This is a sample note for connecting with someone and maybe either just requesting an informational interview or just a general time where you can meet up and discuss your backgrounds and just a general, like going out for coffee or having lunch or something like that. So in this note, it's really just, it's very brief. You don't want to take a lot of time. Typically it's an email and it just states your commonality, that you're both Penn State alumni. So with this example, hi, I'm a fellow Penn State alumni and came across your profile, whether it be on LinkedIn, on Lionlink, wherever. And you're going to briefly explain why you're reaching out to them, and then state your ask. Ask them what you're interested in doing. And then also, again, always say, you appreciate their time and see if someone will meet up with you. And for this example, the situation is someone's relocating to a new area and they want to talk with someone working in a field in their industry just to get some information on maybe employers in that area. And they're requesting a time to chat by phone, or you can do that by email. So then after you send the ask for someone to meet up with you for an informational interview or for just to have lunch and talk about skills and experience and meet that person, the next thing you want to do is prepare for your conversation. And these are some questions that we had come up with that are probably pretty typical of an informational interview or when you just meet someone at a networking event. And think about what you want to learn from the person and prepare questions that you can draw upon to get the conversation started, as we had talked about. The questions should be focused they should always be professional. You want to try to avoid any personal questions. And, it's just thinking about what does a typical day look like? What best prepared you for this job? Anything that you think would be, ask them about the company culture. Ask them, what their background has been like. Do you have, and some people you're able to, you can ask them, say, I have my resume. Would you be willing to take a look at that and give me some feedback or some suggestions? These are all things you can do during a networking event or during an informational interview. And then the other part of it is you want to touch base every now and then because you remember networking is about relationship building. And you want to maintain that, because you never know when, you know, after you find that first job, a few years down the road, you may be, you know, looking for another job. And staying in really having those relationships is really going to help you find your next job.
Holly, real quick.
Yes.
Sorry, there was a question that came in the chat from Alyssa, and she said, what is the best way to find someone to do an informational interview with? Can they be somebody you already work for or with?
Yes, you can definitely do an informational interview with someone that you know or work with. But also you can look, and I'm going to show you a couple ways for Lionlink and on LinkedIn, how you can target specific people and make that ask. And you can, I mean, honestly, you can request informational interviews from anyone that's, you know, in an industry. And especially Penn Staters are great with helping students. Alumni love to help students find, you know, answer questions, and they honestly like to talk about themselves. So that's helpful too. So I am going to show you what Lionlink looks like. Lionlink, if those of you who have used Lionlink, you know that it's our networking platform, and it's exclusive to Penn Staters. It's for both students and alumni. And what it allows you to do is to connect directly within the system. So let me see, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen and move over to demo this. So bear with me. It takes me a little longer because I'm a little older than you guys. All right, give me a second. Okay. Sorry guys, this is taking me a little longer than I wanted it to. Okay.
No worries. Take your time, Holly.
I got it. All right. I think I got it. All right. Can you see Lionlink?
Yes, you are good to go.
Oh, perfect. Okay. So as I mentioned, this is Lionlink. And if you have never used it as a student, I'd highly recommend that you do. And I want to show you just some of the features that Lionlink has. First of all, it's this browse feature. And what this does is it helps you identify specific Penn Staters that you may want to conduct an informational interview with, or you can reach out. And I'm sorry, I just have the, as luck would have it, the ice cream man is on my street and I can hear the music from, so I apologize if you hear any ice cream trucks. It's on my street right now. All right, so to use this browse feature in LinkedIn, you're going to apply specific criteria. For example, you can do a search by location, major, industries, and then I want to show you this more filters as well. So to demo this, let's take a look. Let's start with location, and I'm going to just start with Pittsburgh. And we're going to look for major. Let's try psychology. I'm going to and see how many, okay. Active users, we've got 360. Okay, and the next filter I'm gonna apply, I just wanna see alumni. So I'm gonna use that more filters, alumni, apply. All right. So let me see if my location disappeared. Hold on a second, let's get that back. All right. So this brings me, it looks like I've got 5 people that are meeting my criteria. So I'm just going to start clicking on profiles to see if these would be good people for me to connect with. So I've got Gordon Green. Looks like he's a 2008 graduate. His degree is in psychology. Yep, that's what I was looking for. And he's a coordinator at UPMC. So and if you've noticed, this looks very similar to, if you all have LinkedIn, this looks very similar to that. And in fact, when you register for Lionlink, one of the options is to create your account by using your LinkedIn account. I'd recommend that you do, simply because it will fill in some of these fields and pull that information and add it to your Lionlink profile, which is just, it's a huge time saver. So, and looking at this, like I said, it's very similar to LinkedIn. One thing you want to check out is when you create an account, it will ask you what you're able to help with. So this alum checked their check boxes that he said, you know, he's able to help with attending networking events, balancing family, career, academics, conducting a mock job interview. So he would be a great person if you need some help with a mock interview. That's something he's willing to help with. Also, maybe cover letter writing, or he's able to help with the benefits of participating in clubs and organizations. So it looks like he may be a good candidate to talk with and get some information from. And he just tells you a little bit. They graduated from Barrand. So if he looks like someone you'd like to connect with, I'm going to message Gordon. And what this does, this just on the left side, it shows you his bio. And then it provides me with an email message. And there are 3 different templates. So you can use these, or you can craft your own email. It's whatever you would like. These are just suggestions. So if I'm interested in expanding my network, I will have a different template. And it just basically says, would you mind sharing your expertise regarding your work experience? Definitely customize this for yourself. And then all you need to do is simply send this to him, and he will get the message in his email. Another thing you can do, there's an option here that you can request a meeting with him. So if you request a meeting, just go in, you can select a date, maybe on Friday, and you want to do a video call or in-person phone call, you know, so you can select phone call. It will dial in, and then I can, you know, select the time and then request a meeting. This is a really nice way to expand your network. And these are great places to do to request an informational interview. So that's one feature that I wanted to show you using Lionlink. Other things that are great in here, there is a discussion board. So, you know, and some people will post some internships. This is a summer internship that one of our users added. There's also Pepsi contacted me last week and asked if I would advertise a virtual career fair that they're having. I've added it to that discussion. This is a person, they're interested in some internship or shadowing opportunities. All kinds of different and from good questions that that you can respond to or discuss, just like you would do on LinkedIn. There are also resources section. This will start and tell you all about Lionlink. If you want a little bit of a tutorial on Lionlink, you can definitely use some of these resources. There's also the webinars. When we host a webinar, we record them, and you can find them in here. There are other things that we often use. Salary.com is a great way to look at salary ranges. That's always really important to be able to speak to when you're interviewing. Also, there's student career resources in here, as well as resume resources, cover letters. We've got information on networking, interviewing, all kinds of great information. The other thing there, I had mentioned a little bit of, we have learning communities, and this is this alumni job search tune-up program that I spoke of briefly. This is a great way to have a really strategic job search because it's laid out into modules, and it helps you start with, looking at your goals and your plans, and then it walks you through creating a resume, and then networking and interviewing, all kinds of great stuff in here. And then we have a hot jobs, which are typically pulled from Nittany Lion careers that are specific to alumni. We'll add those on there. So as you can see, there are a number of different things to really use Lionlink. I highly recommend that you create an account and you start using this really to network. The other thing I wanted to show you is LinkedIn Alumni Tool. So let me go to that. Let me go here. Let's see if I can do this. Go into LinkedIn. All right, do I still have you? Lauren, do I still have you on there? You're seeing LinkedIn?
Yes, you do. Yep, and I can see LinkedIn.
Perfect. All right. So any of you that do not have a LinkedIn page, highly recommend that you do that and get started building those. If you want to attend any of our LinkedIn job search webinars, you can go to our website and view those. And I'm sure Lauren in Career Services has some good information on LinkedIn profiles as well. What I want to show you specifically on LinkedIn is the LinkedIn Alumni Tool. So in the top, this is my homepage. In the search here, I'm going to type in Penn State University. Let's see. And those of you that are, since you're all Penn Staters, if you also click on the lion in your education section on your LinkedIn, it will also take you here. So what I want to show you is this alumni tool. So when I get here, I'm going to click on alumni, and this will show me how many Penn Staters have LinkedIn accounts. So there are 455,486 alumni currently that have LinkedIn profiles. And what I use this for is to look to see if I can identify some Penn Staters that would be good to connect with. And there are filters, just like I showed you on that browse feature in Lionlink. You can add where people live. So let's just run you through this. So if we're looking in, let's say Houston area, going into Houston, and it will actually show you a lot of the big employers in Houston and where Penn Staters work. So this is really helpful, first of all, because it helps you identify specific employers. Say maybe I'm interested in working for NASA. Okay. If I scroll down, this will take me to anyone that has a connection with NASA and anyone that's in Houston. And I'm looking at 35 of Penn State alumni, which is great. If I want to pare that down a little bit more, I can go over and see what they do or what they studied. So looking at this, I'm going to go down to what they do. I'm going to look at research and see where that takes me. And so I have all different options here. And one thing that I'm looking at is how I'm connected with these people. For example, that will tell me we have, with Ken Neese, I have one shared connection. And this is a gentleman I'm connected with. And what I can do, which I think is the best way to use LinkedIn, this is someone that I worked with several years ago. I worked with him on earning his graduate degree. And, you know, what I can do is reach out to him because I have his email address and say, hey, I was looking for people that work at NASA in Houston, and I noticed that you are connected to Ken Neese. Would you be willing to make an introduction for me? And if that's something he can do, then that's a really good way to connect with someone else, because then my friend Joe is able to send an email directly to Ken and say, hey, Ken, I know Holly Stoltzfus, and she is really interested in learning more about electrical engineering at NASA. And that's a really nice way to expand your network. You can connect with people on LinkedIn, and I definitely recommend that you do, but the best way to connect with people are outside of LinkedIn and get something directly in their email box. But if you can, like, I can connect with Ken as well. So, you know, and I'm sure that, you know, most of you have probably used LinkedIn, so you know how to do connect with people. And here's something that really encourage you to do. If you want to connect with someone, don't necessarily just send them, just hit connect. I'd recommend that you send them a message and let them know, hey, you know what, I know Joe from State College, and you know, he recommended that I talk with you on, you know, your job at NASA. So those are just really good ways to connect and build those relationships. Does anyone have any questions on this? And Lauren has done an awesome job adding all of these links to our website. Or not to our website, excuse me. It's getting a little late in the day for me, to our chat. So does anyone have any questions, anything that I talked about that you want me to expand upon, show you again? I'm happy to do that.
This was really great, Holly. It was such a comprehensive overview of what the job search looks like and how to best prepare for it. I hope that for everybody who is here, like Holly had mentioned, I was trying to keep up and put the links in the chat as she was going along. So hopefully that was really helpful. Holly, would it be possible for you to send the presentation and I can send that out to everybody who's here today?
Oh,
okay, great.
Yeah, I'll send you the slides. Yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah. And so for everybody who is still here, I know we have a couple of minutes left. We have a couple more programs that are going along this week. Tomorrow, we're going to be having a presentation by one of our corporate recruiters from AlCuve, talk about making a successful transition into the workplace, which complements what Holly was talking about today. And I'm actually going to share my screen real quick just to bring up some other resources. So you can all view the full schedule of events for Senior Week at the bit.ly link listed there. In general, we are encouraging everyone who is here who are seniors to also fill out their senior survey. So if you have 5 minutes, please feel free to scan the QR code on the slide, open up, just tell us what your plans are, even if you don't have plans yet after graduation. We're trying to take a snapshot of anywhere from the time of graduation to 6 months out. You can always update it if you get a job in between. And it just helps us kind of see what we can do better to help support you. Joseph, you had a question of if the presentation will be posted somewhere. Yes, so the presentation will be available on our YouTube page tomorrow. So tomorrow I will be sending out the slides that Holly went through, as well as the YouTube link. So if you want to watch the first few minutes, or if you missed some of it, you can rewatch that pretty easily. The only other thing that I wanted to just underscore what Holly had said is that you all have both of us really, and our offices, as incredible resources now and after you graduate. So for now, as students, make an appointment with either myself, another career coach, or a career counselor through the Liberal Arts Career Enrichment Network or Career Services. We have a whole host of resources that we can go over with you, as well as just coach you through some of the anxiety around getting your first job or what it looks like, or graduate programs. And you can do that by going to nittanylinecareers.psu.edu. And then as soon as you graduate, you switch from student services, which I cover in the Career Enrichment Network, as well as career services. And then you move over to Holly over in Alumni Career Services, and they will offer the same exact things. And I know that Holly went over that in the beginning, but I just really want to reiterate that just because you're leaving Penn State does not mean that we are throwing you out there on your own. You always have us as a resource moving forward. So please take advantage. Any last questions for Holly? I want to thank you so much again. This was incredible, really great information and a really comprehensive overview. So I want to just thank you again for your time tonight.
Oh, you're welcome. And, like Lauren said, please don't hesitate to contact us at all. And you can contact us from the day after you graduate until you retire. I had a woman I was working with last week. She's 74. She decided that she wanted to do some remote consulting work. So we were working with her on doing that. So anytime that we can help you, please reach out. And I had put my email address on there. And then you can also email us at alumni. I'm going to put that in there, alumnicareer@psu.edu.
Okay, and I am going, somebody asked for the YouTube channel. I'm just bringing that up real quick, and I will post that in the chat as well. And I'll make note of all of these resources too. So when I send you all the email tomorrow with this, I'll include those links so it's a little bit more comprehensive as well. So you can, if you go to the Liberal Arts channel, you will find all of the Career Enrichment Network's past programs, including the one from Senior Week yesterday, as well as career conversations and other relevant information from the college. So hopefully that helps too. All right. Great. So I think with that, we'll end here. I'm going to stop my screen share and stop our recording.